Work it out. Okay. Don't do that now. Just... There we go. Alright, now let's check and make sure that we're live. Hi if we are. Oh, that's not probably going to be a good angle, but we shall take a look and see how we're doing. Come on, you. Go. Alright, just making sure I've got everything set up the way that it needs to be, because we're going to be making a stamp box today, hopefully. Here we are. Oh. Let's see if we can't switch that around. Just setting up right now, guys. Hold on with me a moment while we see what we're doing. Alright. Refresh that. See if we can't get... Okay. Come on, you. Let's try this again. Okay. Just trying to get so that I can see the stream at the same time as you guys are. Hopefully. Go. Hopefully it's on and everything. No, maybe not. Maybe it got turned off. Alright, let's have a look at you. Connecting, okay. Are we live? Yes, it says we are. Alright. Let's try this again. View. Alright, so this claims that we are live. But this is not showing me any live. Let's see. There we go. That's what I wanted. Alright, hopefully we are ready to go. Sorry this is taking so long. Ooh. Let's just turn that down. There we go. Alright, that should be better. Okay, sorry about that. Now, what we are planning on doing today is making a stamp box for all the stamps that we've made so far, and our extra sticky back stamps, and hopefully to hold our ink pads too, but we'll see how it goes. Let's go ahead and share this to the medias, and then we will be ready to go. Okay. Hopefully everything's working out. There we are. Oh. Come on. There we go. Okay, and then there we go. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to be making a stamp box with these stamps. Let's see if I can't stand that up a little bit more. There we go. That's what we want. And then oh, come on, you. Okay. Sorry about all the arranging I'm having to do. Hopefully I will be able to get it arranged. And then there we are. That's better. Alright. So we've got everything around to make a stamp box. I've got the pattern paper that I want to make the stamp box with, and I've got cardboard cut to the sizes that I want. So I am going to start by covering the cardboard in the paper. Let's see. So these two pieces, bottom and top one, are the same size. And I'm just going to turn my paper over and I'm going to glue it down. I've got some glue stick to glue it down with. Go. And I'll just put glue all over it. I just want it to really adhere down to the paper. And then once it's stuck down, I will cut the paper to size and fold it over. So we've got that stuck down like that, and I'm going to just grab my iron and, well, drop it, of course, and use it to just set that glue. Go. Making sure everything is just good and tightly pressed and set really well. Because once it is, we can cut the paper and move on. It's going to be gluing and setting paper for a little bit here to cover all of the pieces with the paper. Go, let's see. And then just cut it out, trying to keep it an equal distance away from the edge of the cardboard. But I don't have to be exact. We'll be exact with the inner cover paper. And that is not quite set, so I'm going to just go over it with the iron again. Let's see here. There we go. That's setting like I want it to. My iron was probably just not hot enough to start with. That's all right. There we go. And now we can flip it over. And get back to this. Here we go. Okay, so now we're just going to take and trim our edges. The edges will be trimmed just across, just straight across, not right up to the corner of the cardboard, but pretty close, and sort of at an even angle, but I'm not too concerned, to make sure that it stays perfectly even. Then what we're going to do is take our glue stick and run it down that tab that we've got left over now, and press it up at the edge and press it down over the top, and make sure that it just sticks down flat and straight, and then iron it on. I should actually probably put a cloth underneath this so that I'm not ironing directly on wax paper, and I think that I will. I think that'll put something underneath this so that I'm not just ironing directly on wax paper. But you see how that just stays down now where it wasn't before? That's the benefit of setting the glue with the iron. You don't have to wait for things to work themselves out. I just opened 2 glue sticks. Of course I did. Well, now both of them are open. That's fine. There we go. Now I've got a cloth to iron on, which should be a little bit better, hopefully. Go. Just sorting through my bits of cardboard. Okay, and then do the same thing all the way around the edges. Just putting plenty of glue on and making sure that it folds up right at the edge of the cardboard, and smoothing it down. And then setting it with the iron so that it doesn't ride up. There we go. Same thing over again. There we are. Pressing that down, pressing it over all the way along. Trying to make sure that I keep it straight and flat and even, and then setting the glue with the iron. Go. Okay, and last tab for this one. The closure mechanism on this box is going to be pretty simple. It's not a very complex closure, and I don't want it to be. It doesn't need to be. It's meant to be a box that sits on a shelf and holds stamps that I sometimes take out and use. There we go. And glue is set. There we go. So that is now covered in this pretty crackly, scrolly paper. Now I just have to do it to the rest of the pieces. So we've done that to the top. Now we're going to do it to the bottom piece, and I think this scrap is, yep, too small for that, but that's okay. I've got another piece. Alright, so let's flip it over, do the same thing. Spread glue just all over this cardboard piece, front to back, side to side, bottom to top, all over. Making sure to get out into the corners and edges. There we are. And then do the same thing. Turn it over, put it toward one corner, and press it down. There we go, and then flip it back over and set the glue with the iron. Perfect. The iron's getting a little too hot. That's okay, we'll just turn it down some. And then turn it over and cut it out. Here we are. There we go, and then set that bit aside for later use as well, and trim the corners just as we did the first time. Just makes them lay just that little bit extra flatter, which is nice looking. It's nicer looking. It ends up with a more professional looking end product when you do that. There we go, and then evenly press it over and toward the center, and then set with the iron. It's not setting as quickly at the lower temperature, but it's also not as likely to burn my paper. And with paper, that is more of a concern. Okay, same thing for the next tab. Glue. And then turn. Smooth and set. I always find working with paper to be a pretty meditative process. Like, it only moves in so many directions. You can fold it, you can crease it, you can bend it, and each different one behaves just that little bit differently from the next. Oh, I've got to tune it up just a little bit. And depending on what you do to it, determines how it behaves. And once you know how it's going to behave, you can make it do some really amazing things. That one I might have cut a little too short. That's okay. It'll work out. It'll get covered when we put our inner paper on. Go. And then just set the glue last tab for this piece. And then we're going to switch to a different pattern of paper. Go. Just set it down and run the iron on it and let the iron set the glue for a moment. There we are. All set and secure, and then two pieces of the same size with this same pattern of paper on it. One for the top, one for the bottom of the box. Now we're going to need to do the inner part of the top. So I've got another piece which is cut slightly smaller. See, just a little bit smaller. And I'm going to cover it with a different paper. And I've got this cream textured paper here. Let's see if I can pull off the sticker. There we go, came off pretty good. And I've got this cream textured paper here. I don't know if you can see the texture, but it's this lovely pressed woven texture into it that I really like, that I really hope it doesn't get lost when I press it with the iron, but I have a feeling it might. So we are going to glue the second piece of the top down to the cream textured paper. There we go. Just put on lots and lots of glue. And lay it onto the paper, just in from the edge. Actually, let's bring you a little bit more this way. There we go, just lay it onto the paper, just in from the edge. There we are, and then press it down. And flip it over and run our iron along it. Just to set the glue and make sure everything stays where we want it to. Ooh, and the texture is not being lost from the iron too badly anyway. That's awesome. It's a little bit pressed away, but it's not too bad. Very good. Cool. Okay, and then same thing as we did before. We're going to be doing this with the top, but not with the bottom of the box, and there is a reason for that. The top needs to have a lip so that it sets inside and the lid just doesn't slide right off, because it's going to just set on the top. But the bottom is going to be where the sides of the box connect, so it can't have that same lip. Well, it could, but we're not going to. It's not necessary. It's more work than we need to do. Okay, so same thing again. Glue stick, tab, press, fold, and set. Here we go. There we are, and then same thing again. Glue and fold, just making sure to get right into that corner. Press and set. And it does get faster as you go along, but it can be something of a slower process. There we go. Okay. Glue, fold, press, and set, hopefully. Okay, and then last tab for this one. Go. Make sure I could tuck both the corners and get glue on them really well, because I want it to stay stuck down. It will, and you'll see why in a moment, but I want it to stay stuck down anyway. Alright. There we go, and then just set it with the iron. Making sure to keep the iron moving at least somewhat. Now, here's going to come a tricky part, because we've got top 2 and we've got top 1, and top 2 is just slightly smaller than top 1, but we have to glue them together. So, I'm going to roll up my glue stick and put glue all over the smaller of the two, just all over, making sure to get it really thoroughly coated. And then turn it over, and now just making sure that it's even on all sides, from side to side and from top to bottom. And I can try and press it with my iron, but the heat's going to have a hard time going through all those layers of cardboard. It's not going to really work out very well. So I'll apply heat to one side and then I'll apply heat to the other side, but then I'm going to kind of just set it aside for a while, because it's not going to work very well. That's gonna, yeah, see, the glue isn't really set, so it's peeling up. Alright, let's see if we just hold it down for a moment, see if we can't get our glue to hold. And we may end up putting clips, like binder clips. I've got some binder clips over here, and actually I think that I will. So I'm going to put binder clips on the corners to hold it in place as it dries. There we go, and then while that's drying, I'm going to set it aside and start work on the side pieces, which I want to match the top and bottom, so we're going back to this patterned paper. I've got 2 sides. 2 of them are long sides, side L, and 2 of them are short sides, side S. We are going to take and put those down onto the paper, and actually I don't think I'm going to end up with enough paper. No problem, we will use the cream textured paper. That's too bad though. Alright, so we will do the same thing. It's a lot of just covering cardboard in paper to make it look nice. We aren't assembling anything yet, we're just making all of the pieces look pretty so that it looks finished once it is assembled. Go, side L, we can just set it right there-ish. And then exact same thing, flip it over, set the glue. I don't know if you can see it, but there's steam rising from that glue, and I'm not using the steam setting on my iron. That steam is the water, or the liquid I should say, not necessarily water, evaporating from the glue and leaving only the adhesive behind, drying, which is what sets it. Go, let's trim that just a little bit thinner. And then do the corners. And then glue everything down. Covering the side pieces again. And actually, I might try doing all of these side pieces first and then setting it and see if I can't improve that process and make it a little bit faster as well. See what we can do. There we are. Press. And these long sides are just shorter than the long sides of the box. This is going to be the size of the box, by the way. Don't know if I'd mentioned that before. But the long sides are just shorter because the short sides overlap them. Go. Alright, and press everything up and toward the center and make sure that it all lies flat and even. And then set all the glue at once. Haha! Faster. Go. Okay, and then do the same thing for the other one, the other long side. Flip it over, glue it down, get glue on everything really well. Oh, go. Take a look at that. And then flip it over and kind of try to center it a little bit, sort of. And stick it down and then trim it up. You know, I was out taking a look at the bees earlier today. I started up my smoker, I opened up the hive. I had just installed a package last Thursday. I don't know if you saw that. I did stream it, but I just installed the package last Thursday, and I wanted to check on them to make sure that they'd released the queen all right, and that everything was, you know, going as it was intended. Well, even though I'd attached the queen's cage to one of the frames, they'd knocked it down and been unable to get at the candy plug. They were still able to get at the queen, so she was just fine in there and everything, but they weren't able to get at the candy plug, so it had only been eaten half away, and this package was installed on Thursday, and today is Sunday, so that was like 4 days ago. So I opened up the cage and released the queen, and they're doing just fine now. They were accepting her. They weren't bawling her or anything, so I was confident in releasing her. So I just opened it up and let her out and let her into the main body of the hive. But this is exactly why you go back in and check to make sure that everything's going well a couple of days after you install the hive. I know some people's inclination is to check hives like often. You're excited and you want to get into the hive really all the time, and that's not a good idea, but never checking on them either is also not a good idea, and that's the inclination of other people. Usually it goes one way or the other. You constantly want to be in the hive, or you want to leave them alone to do their thing. And you do. You want to leave them alone to do their thing, because they know what they're doing, except when something goes wrong. So it is a good thing to go in and check up on them every now and again anyway. So I did that, checked up on them, released the queen, closed it back up. She, went right down between the frames like she's supposed to. And then I opened up the hive that the hive that I installed the package in 15 days ago, 2 weeks ago. And I hadn't been in there since I had gone in to make sure that the queen had been released from her cage, and she had for that hive. But I hadn't been back in there to make sure that the queen had been released from her cage for 2 weeks. So I, wasn't sure that everything was going all right in there, but it was also weather that was bad enough that I didn't want to just get in and mess with them. Because going in when the weather's not great is not a great idea. There we go. So, that might be too narrow. We'll try. We'll see how it goes. So, I went in, and they had drawn several frames of comb. I'd left them with, empty frames to draw, and they'd drawn several frames of comb, which is awesome. And nearly every frame that I pulled out had capped brood on it. In fact, one of the frames that I pulled out had capped brood and fresh eggs on it. So she'd been there and had laid brood, and then had come back later and laid more, which is awesome. So I'm really happy with how that's going and how that hive is turning out. They are coming along really nicely, which is an excellent thing. There we go. So that hive is coming along really nicely, and I have good hopes for it. They look healthy and strong, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if some of those brood, well, I know that some of those brood have already hatched out even, so they've got newbies in there that weren't in the package when I installed it, which is awesome. Go. But I went all the way through the top box. I've got 2 boxes on that hive. Started them off in 2 deeps because there was already a full box worth of drawn comb in there, and I wanted them to have as much space starting off as possible. So I started them off in 2 deeps instead of just 1. But I went all the way through the top box, and because I was able to verify that the queen was laying, I left it alone. I stopped at the top box and didn't pull the top box off and go through the bottom box, because you don't need to always. And I get enthusiastic about it, and I know it, and I end up going, you know, through the entire hive, which isn't necessary. At this point, in these early stages, you just need to make sure that your queen is good, that she's laying, that she's got a good brood pattern, that she's coming back and filling in after the brood emerge, and she was, so I didn't need to do anything else. And just as that idea where knowing when to stop when you're crafting is, it's the same idea knowing when to stop when you are working with bees. You don't have to keep bothering them. Once you know that everything is alright, just back off and leave them be. Go. Just want to make sure that everything is this not? No, it's hot. Did I not get enough glue on there? Why isn't it sticking down? Come on, you. Stick like you mean it. There we go. That's a little better. Still not entirely the way that I would like it to be, but a little better. And fold it up. And press it down. There we go. And then other tab. And then one other side. And then we should be good for this part. And move on to covering the remaining raw sides with flat pages. So this pressing and flattening thing should be it. That's odd. This video has gotten a second like other than me, but it says that there's only one person watching. That's weird. Well, hello anyone who might be out there that it's not showing to me. Nice to see you here, if you are. That is odd. But there we go, all pressed, and set that aside and do this short side. Can I fit it that way? No, I can't. Okay. That's okay. We will take and glue it down. Spread glue all over the place. And stick it down here-ish. I think that's a good edge. That's a good way around. And do the same thing as before. Trim it off, trying to keep it even, but not being too concerned about it. While we are trying to keep it even, it's not the end of the world if it isn't. And then trim the corners. There we go, and glue everything down. Just stick everything down. And glue everywhere. And square the sides up and over and up and over and up and over and up and over. I like doing these live streams for projects that are longer, ones that are more involved or would require more like folding like this, or like ones that would take a long time and take a lot of gluing down, because it gives the opportunity for me to show you all of the work that goes into it, but also makes it very approachable and real, a real project that you could do that isn't something that's unachievable or unattainable. Go. Come on, set. Okay. There, those are staying down now, like we want them to. And that needs to just be trimmed off just a little bit. They didn't quite fold evenly, which is alright, but is just, there we go. Something that needs a little bit of correcting. And then what we're going to do is cover all of the insides with the cream paper. So for that, I want it to be cut, I don't know if you can see, but just slightly narrower than the side that I'm covering. So I'm just going to fold it where I want to cut it. That way I make a nice even cut. There we go. And then all of these sides, both the long sides and the short sides, are the same height. So what I'm going to do is take my slide cutter and the other piece of textured cream colored paper that I've got, and pull the sticker off of that, and then cut a strip off of there, which is the same width, hopefully, sort of, kind of, maybe, who knows, we'll see, which should give us something approaching a piece that we can use for two of those, and I'm going to need one more because it's not going to go far enough to do the other side. That's okay. We will do it from the shorter end. Let's see, just line it up and up, and there we go. And that's good for that for now. Okay, so then the first thing that we're going to do is take our one that's already the correct size and stick it down. Actually, I might trim that one a little bit further just so that I get rid of that curve from where we folded it. There we go. Okay. And then glue all over it. All over. And then turn it over and stick it down. There we go, and then that gives us a finished and decorated piece on all sides. Enclosed and even and hopefully nice. Alright, and then I'm just going to set the glue on it so that it stays where we put it. And hopefully that's good. And then take the long piece and line it up on this one and do a little fingernail mark where I want to cut it. And then grab back up my cutter and cut it and set the short piece aside for the short side and set the long piece aside for the long side. And glue it down. I'm going to run out of glue stick in a moment. This is a glue heavy project though. Some projects I don't use any glue at all, and some projects I use all of the glue I own, and it makes me have to go to the store and buy more glue, which is not a bad thing. It's never a bad thing to buy more glue. Except when it's not back to school season and then the glue is more expensive. Always stock up on glue when it's back to school season. A bit of crafting advice for you there. Always stock up on the glue when it's back to school season. It's never as good as a deal the rest of the year. Go. Set and good. There we are. Okay, and then set that aside with the other short side that's fully covered. Oh, that ended up with some glue on the opposite side. That's okay. It'll be fine. There we are. Okay, and then set this piece on. And put glue all over it. Come on, a little bit more glue. No such luck. Alright. There is always a bit of glue left in the end of your glue bottles, and when that happens, you can always just take something that's sort of wedge shaped and stick it in there and pull it out, because there's no sense in wasting glue. But this glue stick's dead. There's got to be something interesting that you can do with an empty glue stick container, but I haven't figured it out yet. If you know something that's good to do with an empty glue stick container, let me know, because I end up with a lot of them. And there's got to be something that can be done with them. I just don't know what it is. Anyway, there we go. That glue is all spread out. And then we just grab our other glue stick and start using it. Make sure you get glue everywhere. There we are, and stick it down to side L. That is the long side. And smooth it down and set it with the iron, keeping the iron moving so that we don't burn our paper too much. Oop, but also not sliding it around. Good thing it hadn't set yet, because that slid out of place. Here we go. And that should hopefully be set now, so we don't have to worry about it too much anymore. And it goes on the pile of finished sides. And we do this one. And we should have measured off of the other long side how long we wanted to cut it at, but we didn't. And that's okay. You just make it work anyway. So, cut that piece, set aside the scrap bit, check it for fit just to be sure, and there we have it. Okay. And glue everywhere. And that's the key to most of these paper and cardboard crafts. If you need a little bit of glue, drench it in glue. If you only think, use more than you need, more than you think that you're going to need. Make sure everything really sticks and stays where you put it. Thank you. Go. Sealing everything in, making sure the sides stay in place and are even and covered and set. Alright, and that gives us the 4 sides of our box. Gives us the 4 sides of our box. So we will set those aside for now. And we've got the top and the bottom still. The top, I don't want to try and pry it up. I don't know that I trust it to stay stuck. But we can cut the cover piece for the bottom. So let's go ahead and make a nail mark where we want to cut that. There we are. That's going to cover that way. So then make a nail mark there where we want to cut that. And that gives us our bottom piece to cover the raw sides of the bottom, although that's coming up. I don't think I set it well enough. Or maybe there wasn't enough glue on it. In any case, it's staying down now. Okay. And then, more glue. Okay, and this will be the last place that we have to stick down for any of these sides, the bottom or the top. Once we've got this stuck down, we'll be ready to start to assemble the sides and bottom and top of our box. Well, the top's already partway there, but you get the idea. You know what I mean. Alright, stick it, set it down real good. Just set the glue in place, make sure everything stays where we put it. There we go. And actually, let's tilt that a little bit better that way. There we have it. Stay stuck down really well at the corners, hopefully. Just really want the corners to stay stuck down. Okay, now we're ready for the difficult stuff. Okay, so this is the bottom, and the long pieces are going to go here and here. Hopefully. So, what we need to do is glue the side pieces on there. So I'm going to see if I can't try something a little different. Okay. Just put a bead, you can't see what I'm doing, but just put a bead of tacky glue on the edge of the long piece, since the short pieces were designed to go over the long pieces. And then line it up, and that needs a little bit more glue on it. Lost some there, that's okay. Line it up and put it together. Make sure everything is square, and then see if we can't set it this direction. Can't get it to stay how we want it to by setting the glue against the iron while it's up like this. Might not be very interesting to watch, but we're trying it. See if we can get it to work. Hopefully. Sort of. Kind of. A little bit, maybe. Come on. Stay. Okay. Sort of, kind of, a little bit, hopefully, maybe. It's a little delicate and wet still, but that's all right. We're just going to line it up with the edge of our box that way for now. Oh, that actually needs to come in a little bit more. There we go. Okay. There we are. And then do the same thing for the other one. Just, oh, actually, that needs to be trimmed a little bit. That's gonna get in the way. There we go, trimmed. And then glue everywhere. Hopefully it'll hold. Oh, without putting my finger into it, try and set it on the edge of here. And just getting it all over my fingers, which is fine. And then see if we can't press this like this. Maybe, hopefully, sort of, kind of. Maybe, hopefully, sort of, kind of like this. There we go. Come on. Alright, now stay in place and get stuck down. With heat. Stick, stick, stick. Hopefully, sort of set. Okay. And then that'll kind of stay in place maybe while we do the final side. And then we can glue the bottom to the sides all the way around. And it should give us something resembling a box. Okay, so this needs glue here on the inside. And here on the inside. All right. And then those sort of sneak inwards a little bit so that they fit on the base. And then press it with the iron for a moment. And keep it in place and make sure everything goes together. Come on, you. Everything goes together. Okay. Come on, you. Hopefully, sort of, kind of, leaning against the iron, keeping everything in place. Please stick the way that I want you to and not the way that I don't want you to. Oofed. Well, that's glue all over my hand. There we go. If you can hear that crunching, that's the tissue paper I'm wiping my hand off on because I couldn't find a close enough piece of paper towel. But that's alright. and then just stick this end and hold it to the iron so that the glue sets, because we really do want it to set in the right place. We want to encourage it to cooperate with us fully. And then what we need to do is stick it down to the base. Ooh, so we'll just turn that over and hope we don't knock it loose while we're doing that. And then take and put glue on our base right around the edge, right up next to the edge where the edge is. Come on. Glue everywhere. There we go. Just a bead of glue all the way along. Making sure we get it securely out to the edges, and just covering it so that we know that it'll seal up good and tight. Okay, then here comes the tricky part. We're going to pull this box over here and turn this over on top of it, so that we can make sure that everything lines up from the bottom, everything is even and secure, and glue is in all the places, and we can put glue in the places where it isn't. Let's see, needs it way over here. And under this edge, and right along here. Okay, then let's just take off a little bit of the excess and move it over to other places. Make sure just that everywhere has a nice even layer of glue. Then we're going to see if we can't set this glue by just setting our iron on top of it. Yes, stick down like I mean it. Okay. Hopefully. Now this is going to be delicate for a little while, probably a day or so, until the glue does fully cure on its own, because even with the iron it's just sort of setting it. It's not fully cured even still at this point. But our box is in place, and we can do things like turn it over and press the glue out to the edges from the inside, Make sure that we get that bottom edge just really sealed up. Oh, that's not down in there at all. Alright, let's see if we can't grab a skewer and push that glue down in where we want it to be. That's better. Okay. Alright, and then let's flip it over and let's see if we can't clean off some of that glue. That's what we've got the cloth out for. It's for setting everything up and making sure that it all goes the way that we want it to. Then set it on the bottom of the box just a little bit more. Just make sure that everything just really stays in place. Okay. Okay. Alright, now, I can already hear what you're saying. That's just a regular box. It's not got anything special about it to make it a stamp box. Well, true enough. Here we go. Let's pull off these clips. And that is stuck down enough. And the top goes on and it fits on, but that inside lip keeps it from just sliding right off again, which is awesome. So there is a box. But it is just a regular box. What's going to make it different is that we are going to take pieces, long strips of cardboard, and set them in sections so that we can set down our stamps inside of those sections, and they are divided and kept straight and even and not just tossing around all jumbled inside the box any which way. Go. Alright, so we've covered everything else in paper and the box is turning out nicely, but we can't just leave our sections not covered in paper as well. So let's go ahead and cover those too. And we're going to do these ones a little bit different than we did the other ones. We've got these long strips, and those are going to be perfect for this. So let's take and fold it over double like that, and then mark where we're at and cut that to the correct width, because I've got a bunch of strips cut this way that I need to cover. Go. And that's not going to be wide enough, so we'll set it aside for something else. And then we will take this and, let's see, okay, so it's right at the 2-inch mark, nice. And cut this also to that width, the 2-inch width. There we go. And this is also probably just a little narrow. We'll set it aside for a moment and cover 2 of our strips with paper for now. So let's take this strip and this strip. We're going to do it a little differently than the other ones. The inside ends are not going to be visible because they're going to be resting against... Actually, before we do that, let's cut this to the right length. Because we might end up with extra paper if we do it this way. There we go, right length. And let's cut our second one to the same correct length. Set those short pieces aside for the moment. Now, we'll close back up our box and set it out of the way. And now we're going to take and glue down our paper strip, or our cardboard strip. There we go, glue our cardboard to our paper. However you want to say it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up right at the edge and then turn it over so that it goes like that. Because that will put it right in the exact correct spot for this. And I'm going to trim the paper to the length of the cardboard. And then run glue down this side. And bring it up and over. And set that glue. And remember that I forgot to set the glue on the other side, so flip it over and do that too. Ooh. That one hissed a little bit. Then, going to run glue along this tab. And bring it up and over so that the divider is fully covered in paper. There we are. And then set the glue. Hopefully. Alright, and we've got one divider covered and ready to go. Then we need another one. So let's remember where we placed that. Take and put glue all over it. And now that we've done it once, we don't have to be exact the second one and measure, and flip over and do all of those things that we were doing the first time. We will just kind of remember how we did it before. It was about that far away, I would say. Go and then trim off the excess and flip it over and set that glue. I don't know if you can hear it hissing, but that's kind of funny. I think it's funny at least. There we go, and run glue on that side and fold it over. There we are, and then run glue on that side and fold it over. Can't iron it before I fold it. There we are. Set the glue. Hopefully. Sort of. Kind of. Maybe. Go. Alright, and then that gives me 2 of these pieces. I'm going to need more that are this length, but this gives me 2 of them. And they are the correct height. I actually want them just a little bit shorter than the stamp, because I want to be able to grab the stamp and pull it out. That's what I was looking for, that when I had that pause there, I was looking for the word stamp. Okay, so now we are going to pull back over our box and put one of these in. Go. So it's going to want to go in like that. And it's going to need to be about that width away from the side. So we will just take and pull it back out and put glue on the ends and the bottom. Always remember to put glue on your bottom. It won't stay stuck down if you don't glue it. There we go. And then I'm going to put it in at an angle and move it over to the right way. That way I'm not rubbing all the glue off on the sides. Although some of it still got on the sides a little bit. Okay, I can just clean that up a little bit more. Clean that up, and then make sure that I've got it even. Go and press it in place to make sure that it stays where I put it. And then I think what I'm going to do is put some glue on the end of this skewer and see if I can't get it in right along. There we go. And in along there. And there. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Alright, and that is going to just be left there to set in place, because I really can't get my iron inside of the box. But I'm going to run my stamp down to the other end and make sure that it's of an equal distance, and it is. Awesome. So I'm going to set my box back aside again. And actually, no, before I set my box back aside, I'm going to try to estimate how many more of these pieces I will need. So let's see. This one is for there. And then if I do that there, I think I can get one more. I don't think I can get 2 more in there. I think I can get 1 more, and that's going to be it. Let's see. Maybe I can I can scooch that one that way a little bit more. I might be able to get 2 more in there. Actually, now that I look at it, let's see. Yeah, okay. I will do 2 more like that. Perfect. Okay, so I'll pull this one out because it's going to be my template for length. And now really do set the box aside because I'm going to need to do 2 more of these pieces at this length, which I don't know if I've got enough paper to do. I don't think I do. I'm going to have to improvise. I only bought 2 of each kind of paper because usually 2 of each kind of paper is all that you need, but this is a different-ish project. It's taking more than I thought that it would, but that's okay. There we go. And that's already cut. What am I doing? Lining it up, and there we go. Okay, and then let's see what we've got. These might be, yeah, that one will work. Okay, so take and do the same thing that we've been doing. Run some glue on it and set it down in place about right there, I think. And then cut the end off and flip it over and iron it on so that it stays, hopefully, where I put it, maybe kind of. There we go. Okay, and then short side. There we go. Stick down, hopefully, set that glue, maybe sort of. And the other way. Yeah, that one ended up just wide enough. Awesome. So that means the other one will be too, probably. Which is good. And set that glue in place the way that we want it to be. Perfect. And it sticks to the iron because the iron's gotten glue all over it at this point. It's okay, I'll clean it off when I'm finished. And then the other piece to this one. Yeah, that'll work. This one is a little bit thinner than the other one. It may not go all the way, but we shall hope for the best and see. Okay. To one side and stick it down and trim it off and set the glue. There we go. And glue on this tab and fold it up and over. Organization is going to be key for this, I think. Keeping organized is going to be the only way to keep sane when I'm making all of these things. Alright, and then up and over, and yes, it just makes it most of the way. That end is a little bit not covered, but it's alright. It'll be on the inside, so it won't truly matter. And I'll face it toward one of the higher walls of the box, and we'll just make sure that everything works out. There we go. Stick down, set that glue, hopefully. Okay. Now, we've got these long pieces done, so we need to put them in. So we'll pull back over our box and grab back over one of our stamps and stick it to the side for spacing, and then put glue on the sides and on the bottom. Just cover it in all the glue. Ooh. Keeping things straight, maybe, sort of, kind of. And there we go. And the end piece. And then set it in and down and where we want it to be, and then grab our skewer and push the glue back underneath it because it's set down in the wrong place a little bit, and just clean it up with a finger because that's not working for it. Okay. So now test it all along. Perfect. And then the next piece. It's going to have to go right in between, but that'll work. Alright, and then same thing. Ends. And bottom. Okay. And kind of just clean that up and put it where I want it to be. Okay. And then drop it down in, sort of. Kind of in the place that it needs to go. Pull that glue off. And make sure that that end is in place. Well, I've got ink all over the inside of the box already. That's a good sign that it's a box for stamps. And the stamp goes all the way down. Awesome sauce. Alright, and then one more. Like, no, but seriously though, ink all over the inside of the box already. Alright, and then last one for the long ways. End bits. Along the bottom. And the other end. And drop it in and down, and try not to get glue just all over my stamps. Okay, hopefully in place all the way down. Okay, there we go. Okay, and take the glue off of my stamp. It's not going to do it any good. And there we have it, lengthwise dividers. Now, I am going to go through and put sidewise dividers as well. And I know that probably didn't make any sense, but dividers from side to side, too. That way these stamps don't move around at all and aren't touching each other. But that may have to wait until this dries a bit more. Go. Because at this point I'm kind of feeling like I'm just making a mess. Like, just a mess. And, well, we'll try one and see how it goes. Alright, so grab one of the short ones. Take and measure it for length, about that long. Cut it. Still too long. Test it again. Still too long. Just cutting off bits until, yep. See, and then that knocked that out of place. Okay, well maybe from that side. Maybe I will do it right there, and then that'll hold that in place. Haha! See? Plans. Plans within plans. Okay, so set that aside for the moment. And take this and put glue on it. And actually, I could probably do this in a larger strip, and I think that I will, and then cut it down to the size that I want. And actually, that one works perfectly, so that's what I'm going to do. There we go. Longer strip. And stick it down sort of there-ish, thereabouts. And there's the sizzle. And do that edge. And the other edge. This one probably isn't going to cover this entirely. That's okay, we will press it as close as we can. And there we go. Hopefully everything stays. And And then what we're going to do is just take and put this right at the end and cut there. Haha! There we go. Now we've got a piece that is the right length and covered in paper. So we will pull back over our box and take our stamps and line them up like this. And then, that's about halfway, I think. We will take our piece and put glue on the sides and the bottom. And try to set it in without getting glue all over ourselves. And that should hold that in place now fairly well, hopefully, sort of. Hopefully. Okay, and then, since we've got those other stamps in there, we may as well put other spacers for that too. So let's just cut them 2 more to the right width. There we are. And then do the same thing for them. Go and then drop the gooey gluey piece down between the stamps, hopefully, without getting glue all over myself or the stamps, maybe. And then one more. There we go. Glue all over the place. All over me, all over the box, all over everything, but there we have it. A box with stamps and dividers to hold them in place and keep them where they're at. And then I can pile other things on top of them too. Okay, I'm planning on making a tray that sets inside of here as well, but that may be a project for another time. This is ending up sort of a longer deal. Alright, let's toss this stamp in here and that one there and that one there. So that gives us the placement of 2 more dividers, and then we will just cut 2 more dividers. Go 1 and 2, and that end ends up too short to use for anything else, but that's okay. And drop that in, and it sort of falls down. It's a little short for that space, actually. Let's just see if we can't fill that gap with a little bit of glue. Might help. Let's test this one. That one's a little shorter, but not too bad. And same thing, sides and bottom. There we go. And slide it into place and remove the excess glue. And drop a little bit more glue into that gap because it seems to be sliding down into it nicely, which is what I want. And that gives us the first row for this box of stamps. Stamp box. Box of stamps. I think this is it for me for tonight, you guys. I am running out of steam for now, and I have to work in the morning, so I'm going to call it quits for tonight. But I will finish up this box and update it as the thumbnail to this video so that you can see the finished copy of it. I will see you guys all later, and good night. Bye.